Hey guys, back out here in the shop working on my 2019 Can-Am Outlander 1000 RXT and addressing some of the problems that I'm having with it. Not really. Well, I have one problem and then a bunch of dislikes. So a few days ago I posted the video on the MBRP exhaust. I'm loving that. I have not had a chance to put any miles on it because I got the bike here in the shop and I got it cleaned up and it's raining and crappy and I want to get all these things done to it before I take it out. But so far I love that MBRP. It sounds nice. It's not loud, which I wanted, and I'm happy. There she is there. So one of the things I don't like about this thing is the ground clearance. So I'm going to address that today, and we're going to install some spring spacers, because really that's about the only darn thing I found for these Gen 2s without going to a big 4-inch cat Voss or something like that. It's going to take the sag out of the springs, give me some more ground clearance, hopefully stiffen the suspension up a bit, because I'm a big fella and I find she rides just a little soft. Now I do like how it rides like you're on a cloud, but she bottoms out. So all you're going to need for that is, like hell, I bought these things on Amazon. They are, I think the 4 of them were $32, $8 shipping up here to Canada. So, you know, like 40 some bucks, no big deal. If you don't like them, throw them out. But what you're going to need to do this is a good spring compressor tool. Bought that on Amazon. I think it was 30 bucks. I didn't buy it. My stepson bought it because we're supposed to do a leveling kit in his Ram and he needs it anyway. So if I can use it and he can use it, and then maybe I can put one of these spring spacer kits on a couple of my buddies' bikes and maybe charge them a bit of money, and then that tool's paid for. So I had a lot of questions about these spring spacers that I didn't get answered. Did some research online. Nobody ever really tells you exactly how they ride afterwards, so I'm going to do my best to do a good follow-up on that, let you guys know what's all involved in this. And I haven't done a how-to video since I had the Honda, so I'm going to break out my tripod and set her up. I've already done one because I wanted to make sure I knew what the hell I was doing before I turned the camera on and made an ass of myself. Like, I'm starting to get used to making an ass of myself, but I do kind of want to stop that. But yeah, I got one in here right now. I think they're 1.25 inches. They're supposed to take all the sag out, and I'm hoping I still have a little bit of sag with me on it, but we'll see. Like I said, 40 bucks. If I don't like it, I'll throw it out. Hell, a case of beer is 40 bucks now, and you'll drink that in a weekend. So I'm gonna get my tripod out and show you how these go on. All right, so before I go ahead and get my tripod out, I had to take my side covers off because kind of pissed me off. Brand new bike. It's only 3 months old. 1,500K on it. Well, less than. And an antifreeze leak. So if you got a new Can-Am and you smell something sweet and you ain't got your wife on the back, you got an antifreeze leak. And I believe the culprit was this clamp here. It looks like an ear clamp. Well, it is an ear clamp. So all I did is I just pinched it a little tighter, and hopefully it's going to stop leaking. But it has actually pissed out enough antifreeze that I can't seem to get it to leak anyway. I don't think there's enough antifreeze in it. So and I don't have the right kind of antifreeze to top it up. So that hopefully I remember to do a follow-up on that. But if not, if I don't say anything, you know damn well it's fixed. If I'm out riding it, it's fixed. So let's get on to this this lift kit here. So really, you know, if you're not a complete idiot, it's not hard to take the struts off. There's a bolt here at the bottom, and there's a bolt up there at the top, and 2 bolts. Take them out, 15 mil, and take it over to the bench and put your spring compressor tool on, and we're gonna do that right now. We got her off. That took like just a couple minutes. I wasn't gonna film that because it's 2 bolts. Come on, guys, I can't figure that out. So what I found with my other one, I put her in the vise here, just nice and loose, just enough that'll hold it. You don't want to do any damage, definitely don't want to scratch any paint. And you gotta put your spring compressor tool on. So it just kind of hooks in here. I can't do it with the camera on, but just to give you an idea there, it hooks on at the top and the bottom. There's two of them. There's one on the top, one on the bottom, and it just pulls the spring in like that and gives you enough room. And once you get that off, you want to turn your adjusters to the softest setting for sure. And I'm gonna put you on the tripod now, and hopefully, since the last one went really good, hopefully this one doesn't give me a pain in the ass just because the camera's on. So see you back here in a couple seconds. Oh yeah, there we are. Put this tool on. We'll do it in real time here, so you see that it's really not all that hard to do. I'm going to get your tool set up here correctly. Make sure you got enough pull to get it compressed enough to get that spacer in there. And you got to try to keep it in line. Is the most important thing, because you don't want this thing to slip off. And you got to make sure they're 90 degrees to each other. Because if they're not 90 degrees to each other, they're not going to compress the spring at the same rate. And things are going to get all conky. And if this thing slips when you don't have this end cap on, you're probably going to have a glory hole in the side of your shop. So snug that one up on the bottom, push those up there. This one here is just a little cockeyed, but you cannot get them perfect. So there, you got her in there. I gotta go get my tool. The tool and the spacer. So I don't know if I mentioned, but these spacers are, I think they're 1.25 inches. So I'm going to use an air ratchet because I'm lazy, and we're going to just keep snugging this up until we got some play. The air ratchet creates a hell of a lot less vibration than an impact, so I would say that this is probably the safer option. So just do a little bit on each side because you don't want that spring to get all conky. Just a bit more. Now, if these things look like they're going to slip, do not take this end piece off, because if you take your end cap off and those slip, that spring is shoo, it's gone. Alright, so that looks like it's probably going to be enough. So this thing isn't that hard to do. You just got to push that. There's a rubber bump stop there. If you push that in, it's going to take some of the tension off this end cap. And it's just two pieces with a slot on it. And they just slide. You just slide apart. One slides there, one slides there. Hopefully you can see that. Like that. And that sits inside there. Piece of cake. So then, you gotta slide this off. that, set that over there so if it does let go, it's not going to kill me. And there's a little plastic piece there. So clean that off. Slide your adjustment to its lowest setting. Oh, it's dirty, dirty, dirty. So slide that to its lowest setting. Slide your spacer on. Slide your plastic piece on there. And you can center that up later. These lower priced ones that come from Amazon, they're kind of a generic spacer. They're meant for like any kind of shop. So there's a bit of play there. And I did get some PVC pipe in case it was too sloppy. I was gonna put a sleeve in there, but they don't seem too bad. So I'm not gonna put a sleeve in there. So spacer's in, that plastic piece is in. We're ready to put the spring back on. So slide that in there. Get your tool over top, guide all that stuff in. Oh. I think I'm being too lenient on this shop because I don't want to mess up the paint on it. So I'm not putting it tight enough, I don't think. But of course, honest to goodness, I did not have these problems when I did it off camera. So there, that's sitting down there now. And I got lots of room, I think, to get my end caps on. So you put this little guy on. Like there. Oh, I might have to tighten her up a bit, I think. I still got to tighten her up a bit. So I'm going to leave that on anyway, because if this slips off, that little guy should help hold everything from blowing through the friggin' walls of my shop. I know some of you are sitting there at home hoping the hell it's going to slip off, so you guys got some freaking excitement. So anyways, to make sure they go in like that, like it doesn't matter if you're not completely at 90 degrees, but the more close to 90 degrees you are, the better. And that should slip in there like that. So what I did with the last one is I took a little pry bar and take your rubber bump stop and push it up so it holds your end cap up so it's not flopping all over the damn place while you're taking your tool off. Everything looks good. Alright, so now just take your tool off and boom, you got yourself a lifted spring. But in the reverse, still just do a little bit at a time because you don't want that spring to go all wonky on you. I'm trying to guide everything in there. Pause you till that compressor's done. Alright, air compressor finally shut off, so I got this one almost loose enough to take right off. Hopefully I'm not blocking your view too much. Pull that little thing up there, unclip it. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. There you go. She's done. That's in the lowest setting. Everything is sitting where it's supposed to sit. And that's not quite centered, but that's easy enough to fix. Just tappity tap 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 with a hammer until she's square. Bingo bango. There you go, guys. So another thing you got to watch for is your angles here, because these have to be pointing the same way, and right now it's not. So I'm just gonna, if you do this before you take it over to the bike, you're gonna do a lot less swearing, because it's just gonna bolt right up. What the hell did I do with my screwdriver? You just put a screwdriver in there and turn. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? No. Still can't see that. But anyways, I'm gonna take this thing off the tripod. So anyways, you got this mount here, and that mount is not the same. So you just stick your screwdriver in there and give her a twist until they're both pointing in the same direction, and she is gonna fall right in that bike like a fart out of a hooker's ass. So that didn't take too long. The only time I paused it was for the air compressor, and I did nothing. So while I was paused, so that is pretty much real-time spring spacer installation. Just gotta throw that back in the bike with both bolts, take it off the jack stand, and jump on it and see if I got any spring left at all. I hope it's still gonna ride nice. Fellas, I'm back. I got her off the jack stands, and I did actually get exactly 2 inches lift. So I'm happy with that. And it definitely took all the sag out of the bike. I took it off the jack, and she hit the floor, and the tires touched the floor, and the bike stopped moving. I was like, uh-oh, that is gonna be stiff. But it is actually, I don't know if I can get a good shot of this here. I can push it. I can push the bike up and down with one hand, and I have a little bit of sag when I jump on the bike. And because you definitely want some sag, you want your axles to drop down into the bumps. You just don't want them to go up in the air. So far, I think, and this is just so far, I'm liking it. I think it's going to work. I think it's going to do what I need to do. I was 10 inches from the ground to the center of the front, and now I'm 12. So that is great. That's great news. I just got to do the back now. I don't know if I'm going to do that tonight, and I'm definitely not going to film it because, well, it takes a hell of a lot longer to film something than it does just to fix it or install it. But anyways, yeah, I'm happy. So I'm going to do the back end, and I got a couple more modifications to do. Well, at least one more. Anyway, and going to be able to take her out on the trail and give you guys a really good, give you the lowdown on the spring spacers. So anyways, these spring spacers, like, I'm calling it a lift kit, but it's actually not a lift kit. It does make the bike higher, it gives you more ground clearance, but basically all you're doing is taking the sag out of the suspension. And sag is, you know, sag is sag. Sag is the weight of the bike pushing the suspension down 2 inches when it's sitting there with nobody on it. So this doesn't mess up the geometry of your suspension at all, so you're not going to wreck axles. So, you know, don't put stupid comments about wrecking axles and all this shit, because I didn't change the geometry at all or the travel at all. It's the exact same strut. It's just got a heavier spring. It reduces the sag, which gives you your lift. Okay, so I ended up doing the back end, and I got 1.25 inch lift on the back end, and I actually still have quite a bit of sag. You probably can't see that because it's too dark in here. So I got 2 inches on the front and 1.25 inches on the back, and my adjusters are both set on the lowest setting, so I can still stiffen her up if I need to. I might stiffen the back up, but I'll probably leave the front where it is. We'll see how she rides. So I'm pretty happy with that. I can jump on it, and it's got suspension. It's still way softer than that mud machine over there. Those XMRs, they're pretty stiff. But this thing's still got some cush to her, so I think I'm gonna like it. I think I'm gonna like it a lot, and I'm gonna do a follow-up on this before I post the video onto YouTube and let you all know what I think of her. So happy day. I'm out of ice and I'm out of mix. That's all I got left for drink. So I'm probably gonna go in the house and eat some supper. It's getting kind of late and I got the growlies. So all right, you guys all have a good evening or day, whatever the hell time it is that you're watching this video, and we will see you again soon. Okay, so I got the spring spacers installed front and back. So I'm sitting just a little bit closer to the XMR now with those spacers. I still have quite a bit of sag on the back after I get off, so I think I'm gonna crank the back up a little higher. So I end up getting 1 1/4 inch lift on the back and 2 inches on the front with those 1 1/4 inch spacers. So besides riding it, I haven't rode it yet. It's been terrible weather and I've been too busy working on it, but I think maybe I'll set the tripod up and I'll climb on the bike and jump up and down so you can kind of see the difference, because that was the kind of stuff I was looking for when I was thinking about doing the spring spacer. So I will see you back here in a second. So if you do the spring spacer install, this is what you're gonna get. Climb on it, still sags a little bit, jump up and down, you still got lots of spring. It sure is a lot softer than this XMR. This XMR, they are pretty stiff. So there's a good comparison there. I think this thing will still ride okay. So I think I will call that upgrade a success. And I just had some more parts show up from FedEx this time, and I'm gonna do another video on putting that on. So I guess you'll just have to come back and see what I got hidden behind that yellow XMR that's gonna go on this thing. Oh, and I did fill the antifreeze back up, but I haven't been able to get it to leak, so I'm going to call that fixed. It'll probably leak on me in the worst bloody time it can, so I'm going to call that a success.